The massive screen in Earth's Defense Command Center displayed thousands of red dots appearing at the edge of the solar system. Admiral James Walker stood straight, his weathered face showing no emotion as he watched the alien fleet emerge from faster-than-light travel. His blue uniform, decorated with service medals, reflected the dim light of the underground facility. "They're exactly where we expected them to be," said Tom Harris, the chief sensor officer, his fingers moving quickly across the holographic controls, just like the predictions from the deep space monitoring stations. The room fell silent as the first transmission came through. The alien ships, sleek and silver against the darkness of space, had positioned themselves in a perfect attack formation. Their lead vessel, nearly the size of Manhattan, moved ahead of the fleet. "This is Lord Grey of the Galactic Empire." The transmission began, the universal translator converting the alien language into English. "Your primitive world has been chosen to join our glorious empire. Prepare for immediate integration and surrender your military command." Admiral Walker allowed himself a small smile. For 20 years, Earth had prepared for this moment. The bunker they stood in was just one of hundreds scattered across the planet, all part of a plan decades in the making. "Open a channel," Walker ordered. The communications officer nodded, and a light blinked green. "This is Admiral James Walker of Earth's Unified Defense Force. We acknowledge your presence, Lord Grey." The alien lord's image appeared on the main screen. He looked almost human, except for his gray skin and entirely black eyes. "Excellent. Your understanding of space communication is surprising. This will make the integration smoother. Prepare your leaders for our arrival. We bring civilization and order to primitive worlds like yours." Walker cleared his throat. "I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, Lord Grey. Earth is not accepting new applications for colonial ownership at this time. Perhaps you'd like to try the next star system." Confusion crossed the alien lord's features. You dare joke. Our empire spans 3,000 worlds. We have conquered civilizations far more advanced than yours. Your primitive weapons and technology cannot hope to." "With all due respect," Walker interrupted, "we're not interested. Earth and the entire solar system are sovereign territory. We request that you withdraw your forces immediately." Lord Grey's face twisted with anger. "You cannot be serious. Our scans show you barely have space flight capability. Your largest ships are crude vessels that haven't even reached your fourth planet. Your weapons are based on primitive chemical propulsion." Walker nodded to his staff, and they began activating hidden systems throughout the solar system. "Those are interesting observations, Lord Grey. However, I should warn you that approaching Earth with hostile intent would be unwise." "You leave us no choice but to demonstrate our power," Lord Grey snarled. "Prepare for—" Suddenly, alarms blared on the Empire's command ship. New signals were appearing all around them. "Sir," Tom called out, "Defense grid is online. All stations report ready." The Empire's sensors lit up as hundreds of defensive satellites emerged from their quantum camouflage. Hidden bases on the moon powered up their shields. Massive gun platforms appeared in Earth's orbit, their weapons already locked on the Empire's fleet. What is this?" Lord Grey stumbled back in his command chair. "These readings, impossible. You're using quantum technology. Advanced shield systems. This cannot be." "I'll say this one more time," Walker stated firmly. "Earth is not interested in joining your empire. We've been watching your expansion for decades. We knew you were coming, and we prepared. This is your only warning. Leave our solar system, or face the consequences." The Empire's ships began shifting positions, their weapons powering up. Lord Grey's face had lost its aristocratic composure. You deceived us, hid your true capabilities." "Not at all," Walker replied calmly. "We simply didn't advertise them. There's a difference. Now, what's it going to be, Lord Grey? Will you leave peacefully, or should we demonstrate why challenging Earth would be a grave mistake?" The tension in the command center could be cut with a knife. Every officer stood ready at their station, hands hovering over controls that could unleash weapons the Empire hadn't even detected yet. "This isn't over," Lord Grey finally spoke, his voice cold with rage. "The Empire does not forgive such insolence." "Then we'll be ready when you return," Walker answered. "You have 1 hour to clear the solar system. After that, we will consider any remaining Imperial ships as hostile forces and respond accordingly." As the transmission ended, Walker turned to his crew. "Signal all commands. Defense Plan Alpha is now active. The Empire won't take this humiliation lightly. They'll be back, and next time, they won't bother with diplomacy." The first battle for Earth's freedom hadn't involved a single shot fired, but everyone in that room knew this was just the beginning. 20 years earlier, in a hidden research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Professor Anna Miller stared at her computer screen with wide eyes. The data from Earth's Deep Space Telescope network showed what she had feared. A massive empire was spreading across the galaxy, consuming civilization after civilization. "Play it again," she told the computer. The time-lapse showed hundreds of star systems turning from green to red over just a few decades. Each red dot represented another world that had fallen to the Empire. The steel doors slid open, and General Robert Stone walked in, his face grim. "Tell me you have good news, Professor." Anna pointed to another screen showing complex quantum equations. "We finally cracked it. The Empire's ships use a specific quantum frequency for their shields. That's why they're so confident in their conquests. But look at this." She pressed a button, and a simulation played out. The simulation showed an Imperial warship approaching Earth. As it got closer, its shields flickered and failed. "We can disrupt their quantum fields," the general asked, leaning forward. "Better," Anna smiled. "We can create our own shields that they can't detect or break through. And that's just the beginning." The scene shifted to the present day, deep under the Pacific Ocean. The massive underground facility stretched for miles, filled with ships that no one on the surface knew existed. Workers in high-tech suits moved around vessels that looked nothing like the crude rockets the Empire had seen in orbit. Tom Harris, now 20 years younger, walked through the facility with Professor Miller. "The quantum shielding is installed on all 600 ships," he reported. "The Empire's scans show exactly what we want them to see. Nothing but simple satellites and basic space stations." "Perfect," Anna replied, touching the hull of the nearest ship. Its surface rippled like water under her hand, the quantum camouflage responding to her touch. "What about the Mars base?" "Fully operational," Tom smiled. "The Empire thinks they're seeing an empty red planet. They have no idea we've had a colony there for 15 years. The quantum field hides everything. The domed cities, the defense platforms, all of it." In another part of the world, beneath the ice of Europa, Admiral Walker inspected the newest addition to Earth's hidden fleet. The ship was massive, stretching nearly a kilometer in length, its hull covered in weapons that combined Earth's best innovations with reverse-engineered technology from crashed alien ships they'd recovered over the decades. "The Defender is ready, sir," reported Captain Lisa Brown, the ship's commander. "All weapon systems are green, and the quantum drive is performing above expectations." Walker nodded, remembering how far they'd come. When they first detected the Empire's expansion, Earth's nations had done something unprecedented. They united. The world's best scientists, engineers, and military minds had worked together in secret, preparing for the day the Empire would arrive. "What about the new AI tactical systems?" Walker asked, following Lisa to the bridge. "Better than we hoped," she answered, activating a holographic display. "The combat eye has analyzed every recorded battle in the Empire's expansion. It's identified patterns, weaknesses, and blind spots in their strategies. They've been unopposed for so long, they've become predictable." Deep in the lunar caves, another secret unfolded. Quantum reactors powered up, feeding energy to massive generators. The moon's hidden bases weren't just defensive positions. They were part of Earth's greatest surprise. Professor Miller stood in the lunar control room, watching the power readings climb. "Begin the test," she ordered. Engineers activated the system, and for a brief moment, space itself seemed to ripple between the Earth and Moon. The quantum field generator, Earth's ultimate defensive weapon, was ready. "If the Empire returns with their full fleet," she explained to the gathered officials, "this field will disrupt their quantum drives. They'll be trapped in normal space, unable to escape. Their shields will fail, their weapons will malfunction, and they'll face the full power of everything we've built." As the test concluded, alerts came in from across the solar system. The Empire's scout ships had been detected at the edge of Pluto's orbit. They were watching, probing, trying to understand how their mighty empire had been denied by a primitive world. "Let them watch," Walker said, reviewing the reports. "Let them think we just got lucky. When they return with their real invasion fleet, they'll learn what humanity is truly capable of. We're not just defending Earth. We're going to show the galaxy that humanity will never bow to tyranny." The pieces were set. Earth's hidden arsenal was ready. Now they just had to wait for the Empire to make its next move. The Empire's return came exactly as Admiral Walker predicted, with overwhelming force and no warning. 2,000 warships jumped into the solar system, their weapons already charged. The massive fleet darkened the space around Jupiter, their silver hulls reflecting the distant sunlight. They brought their entire third fleet, Tom Harris announced in Earth's command center, his voice steady despite the odds. "Multiple super dreadnoughts detected. Energy readings are off the charts." Lord Grey's face appeared on every screen across Earth's defense network. His gray skin was darker with rage, his black eyes burning with hatred. "You were warned. The Empire does not tolerate rebellion. Your defiance ends today." Walker stood calmly, hands clasped behind his back. "All defense stations, activate quantum shields. Execute Battle Plan Delta." The Empire's first wave launched 10,000 missiles toward Earth. They expected to overwhelm the planet's defenses with pure firepower. On their screens, Earth looked almost defenseless, protected only by a thin network of satellites. "Let them get closer," Walker ordered. "Wait for it." The missiles crossed Mars' orbit. Then something unexpected happened. Half of them suddenly veered off course, their guidance systems scrambled by invisible quantum fields. The rest slowed dramatically, as if flying through thick syrup. "What sorcery is this?" Lord Grey demanded, watching his first attack fall apart. "Now," Walker commanded, "show them what Earth can really do." The space around Earth transformed. Hundreds of quantum shields shimmered into existence, layers upon layers of protective barriers. The hidden defense platforms decloaked, their weapons already tracking targets, and from behind Mars, Earth's true fleet emerged. "Impossible," Lord Grey shouted. "Our scans showed nothing like this." Earth's ships were unlike anything the Empire had seen. They were smaller but faster, their quantum-enhanced hulls absorbing enemy fire like it was nothing. The first wave of Earth fighters engaged the Empire's front line. "All ships, execute attack pattern Omega," Walker commanded. "Professor Miller, activate the disruption field." In the lunar base, Professor Miller initiated her quantum weapon. A wave of energy pulsed outward from the moon, invisible but devastating. Empire ships started losing power, their quantum cores destabilizing. The space battle was unlike anything in human history. Empire dreadnoughts fired their planet-killer weapons, only to watch their beams scatter harmlessly against Earth's quantum shields. Earth's smaller ships darted between the massive Imperial vessels, their advanced weapons cutting through enemy shields with surgical precision. "Admiral," Tom reported, excitement in his voice, "the tactical AI is predicting their moves with 94% accuracy. They're falling right into our trap." Walker nodded. The Empire's tactics hadn't changed in centuries. Why would they? No one had ever beaten them. Until now. "Launch the defenders," Walker ordered. From Europa's hidden base, Earth's superships emerged, led by Captain Lisa Brown. These massive vessels had been built for this exact moment. They accelerated toward the Empire's command ships, their quantum drives leaking trails of distorted space behind them. Lord Grey's flagship launched waves of fighters, but Earth's point defense systems swatted them from space like flies. The Empire's formation began to break apart as more of their ships lost power to the quantum disruption field. "This is impossible," Lord Grey raged. "You're nothing but primitives. How are you doing this?" "That's humanity's secret," Walker replied calmly. "We're very good at looking harmless until it's time not to be." The battle reached its peak above Mars. The Red Planet's hidden defense platforms activated, catching the Empire's fleet in a deadly crossfire. Captain Brown's defenders engaged the Empire's super dreadnoughts in a battle that would be remembered for centuries. 3 hours after it began, the battle was over. The mighty Third Fleet of the Galactic Empire was in ruins. Hundreds of their ships floated powerless in space, their quantum cores dead. Others had retreated in disorder, their formation shattered. Lord Grey's flagship was among the last to flee. "This isn't over," he threatened. "The Empire will return with everything we have." "We'll be waiting," Walker replied. As the Empire ships jumped away, he turned to his crew. "Begin recovery operations, and send word to all commands. This was just round 1. They'll be back, and next time, they'll be desperate. That's when they'll be most dangerous." The first major space battle in human history had ended in victory. But as cleanup crews moved among the debris, everyone knew the real war was just beginning. The deep waters of Earth's oceans began to churn. Massive doors opened on the seafloor as Operation Thunderbolt began. Admiral Walker watched from the command center as hundreds of ships, hidden for years beneath the waves, rose to the surface. Each vessel gleamed with a dark blue metal that absorbed light rather than reflected it. "All Thunderbolt ships report ready," Tom Harris announced, monitoring the global launch. "Pacific Fleet, Atlantic Fleet, and Indian Ocean Fleet are all surfacing. Quantum drives are hot. The Empire won't expect us to take the fight to them," Walker said, studying the tactical display. The enemy had retreated beyond Neptune, regrouping their forces. "They think we're just defending our home. Time to prove them wrong." In low Earth orbit, Professor Miller's newest creation was being prepared. The Quantum Disruption Satellite Network was almost complete, a web of devices that could extend their defensive field far beyond Earth's orbit. "Final satellite in position," she reported from her station. "The network can now reach all the way to Jupiter. Any Empire ship entering that space will lose their quantum shielding." Captain Lisa Brown's voice came through the comm system. "Defender Fleet is in position near Mars. The Empire's scouts are watching us, sir. They can see everything we're doing." "Good," Walker smiled. "Let them watch. Let them worry." The plan was bold. Instead of waiting for the Empire's next attack, Earth would strike first. The Thunderbolt fleets would jump beyond Neptune, hitting the Empire's gathering forces from 3 directions. Meanwhile, the Defender Fleet would guard the inner solar system. "All ships, this is Admiral Walker," he broadcast to the combined Earth fleet. "For years, we hid our true strength. We let the galaxy think we were primitive, weak. Today, that ends. Today, we show the Empire why Earth should never be underestimated." The Thunderbolt ships rose into space, their quantum drives humming with power. Unlike the clunky rockets Earth had shown the galaxy, these vessels were works of art. Their hulls were covered in quantum absorption panels that could trap and redirect enemy fire. Their weapons were based on technology that Earth had developed in secret, combining human innovation with reverse-engineered alien tech. "Sir," Tom's voice was urgent. "Multiple quantum signatures detected. The Empire fleet is moving." The tactical display showed thousands of Empire ships advancing. They had gathered reinforcements, nearly doubling their previous numbers. Leading them was a massive vessel that dwarfed even their super dreadnoughts. "That's the Imperial Throne ship," Professor Miller said, checking her readings. The Emperor himself has come to oversee our destruction." Walker's expression remained calm. "Right on schedule. All ships, execute jump sequence. Operation Thunderbolt is go." In a flash of quantum energy, Earth's hidden fleets vanished. They reappeared moments later behind the Empire's formation, catching them completely by surprise. The space around Neptune erupted in chaos as Earth's ships opened fire. "Multiple enemy ships disabled," Tom reported. "Our quantum torpedoes are working perfectly. Their shields can't adapt." The Emperor's own voice boomed across all channels. "You dare to attack us? Your primitive world will burn for this insult." "Professor," Walker called, "show them our latest surprise." Miller activated her quantum disruption network. A wave of energy spread out from Earth, racing through space at impossible speeds. As it reached the battle, Empire ships began losing power. Their mighty weapons flickered and died. Their advanced shields evaporated. "How?" the Emperor demanded. "This technology, it's beyond anything in the galaxy." "That's because we made it ourselves," Walker replied. "Humanity doesn't need to copy others. We innovate, we create, and we protect what's ours." The battle near Neptune became a slaughter. Earth's ships, designed specifically to fight the Empire, cut through their fleet like knives through butter. The mighty Imperial throne ship found itself surrounded, its weapons useless against Earth's quantum-enhanced hulls. "The Emperor's ship is retreating," Captain Brown reported. "The entire Empire fleet is falling back." Walker watched as the enemy fled, jumping away to faster-than-light speed. But he didn't smile. This victory had been almost too easy. "They'll be back," he said quietly. "And next time, they'll throw everything they have at us." All ships returned to defensive positions. This war is far from over. As Earth's fleet regrouped, everyone knew that humanity had just changed the galaxy forever. They were no longer hiding. They were no longer pretending to be weak. Earth had revealed its power, and the Empire had felt its sting. Red alert sirens blared through Earth's command center. The tactical display showed what everyone had feared. The Empire had returned with their elite guard fleet, a force of 10,000 ships that had never known defeat in 3,000 years. "They're not just attacking from one direction," Tom Harris reported, his hands flying over the controls. "Multiple entry points detected. They're trying to surround the entire solar system." Admiral Walker studied the holographic display showing the Empire's forces. Their ships were different now, darker, more aggressive in design. These weren't the standard Imperial vessels they had faced before. These were the Emperor's best ships, crewed by his most fanatical warriors. "Sir," Professor Miller's voice came through urgently. "We're detecting quantum signatures we've never seen before. They've modified their ships to resist our disruption field." Walker nodded grimly. "They've learned." "Captain Brown, status of the Mars defense grid." "Online and ready," Lisa responded from her command post on Mars. "Colony is secure. Underground shelters are activated. But, sir, we're detecting something else. Something's wrong inside our own lines." That's when the first explosion rocked the lunar base. Alarms screamed as multiple facilities across Earth, Mars, and the Moon reported simultaneous attacks from within. "Imperial infiltrators," Tom shouted. "They must have slipped through during the last battle. They're trying to disable our quantum defense network." Walker's face hardened. This was what he had feared. The Empire's true plan. The massive fleet was just a distraction. "Execute Protocol 0, he ordered. "All bases, lock down and eliminate infiltrators." "Professor Miller, activate the backup quantum grid." In space, the battle erupted with unprecedented fury. The elite guard ships moved with perfect coordination, their new quantum shields glowing with a sickly green light. They had studied Earth's tactics and were ready for them. But humanity had one final surprise. "All stations," Walker commanded, "activate Tactical AI version 2.0. Deep within Earth's secure servers, The most advanced artificial intelligence ever created by humans came fully online. It had been learning, watching every move the Empire made, analyzing millions of possible strategies per second. The effect was immediate. Earth's defense platforms began firing in patterns that seemed random but were actually precisely calculated. Ships moved in formations that looked chaotic but were perfectly designed to counter the elite guards' attacks. The AI is predicting their moves faster than they can make them, Professor Miller reported with pride. They trained to fight our old tactics. They're not ready for this. In Mars orbit, Captain Brown's Defender fleet engaged the Empire's largest concentration of forces. The space around the red planet lit up with weapons fire. They're good, she reported, as her ship dodged another barrage. But they're not adaptable. They're still fighting by their ancient rulebook. That's when the Emperor himself made his move. His new flagship, twice the size of his previous vessel, emerged from quantum space right beside Earth's moon. Its weapons could destroy an entire continent. "You have impressed us, humans," the Emperor's voice boomed. "But this ends now. Surrender or watch your world burn." Walker smiled for the first time that day. "Professor Miller, show them what a truly desperate humanity is capable of." Miller activated her latest creation. The moon's surface seemed to ripple, and then something enormous emerged. A weapon built inside Earth's only natural satellite, hidden for years. A quantum cannon powered by the core of the moon itself. "Impossible," the Emperor exclaimed. "You hollowed out your own moon." "We did a lot of things you thought were impossible," Walker replied calmly. "Fire." The quantum cannon fired a single shot. The Emperor's mighty flagship, pride of the elite guard, simply ceased to exist. The energy beam continued through space, cutting a swath through the Empire's formation. "Your move," Walker told the stunned Empire forces. The elite guard, for the first time in their history, began to retreat. Without their Emperor's direct commands, their perfect formation fell apart. Earth's combined forces pressed the advantage, pushing them back beyond Mars. But even as they celebrated this victory, Walker kept his concerns. The infiltrators had proven that the Empire was getting smarter, more desperate. And desperate enemies were the most dangerous kind. "Maintain battle stations," he ordered. "They're not done yet. This was just their first elite wave. The next one will be even worse." Earth had won again, but the war's true climax was still to come. The Empire would throw everything they had left into one final, massive assault. The Empire's final attack began with a sight that made even Admiral Walker's breath catch. 20,000 ships appeared simultaneously across the solar system. The Empire had committed every single vessel they had left, emptying their entire territory of defenses for this one massive assault. "They're not even trying to be strategic anymore," Tom Harris said, his voice tense as he watched the tactical display. "This is it. They're throwing everything at us." The new Imperial commander's face appeared on all screens. He wore the black armor of the elite guard, his eyes burning with fanatical determination. "This is your final hour, Earth. The Empire commits its total strength to your destruction. No more games. No more holding back." Walker looked around the command center at the faces of his crew. They had trained for this moment for 20 years. All forces, battle stations. "Professor Miller, status of the quantum defense grid." "Fully charged," she replied from her position in the lunar base. "All infiltrators have been neutralized. We're at maximum power." The Empire's massive fleet split into 3 waves. The first wave was their remaining elite guard ships, their dark hulls modified with new weapons. The second wave carried planet killer bombs, designed to crack Earth open like an egg. The third wave was led by 3 new Imperial flagships, each larger than any ship they'd seen before. "They built those ships just to fight us," Captain Brown observed from her position near Mars. "The Empire stripped their whole territory bare for this attack." Walker nodded. "Then let's make sure it was their last mistake. All forces, execute final defense protocol. Unleash everything we have." Earth's response began with a sight no one in the galaxy had ever seen. The planet's oceans parted as massive structures rose from the depths. Hidden defense platforms, each the size of a small city, emerged from beneath the waves. The moon's surface cracked open as more quantum cannons revealed themselves. "Full power to all weapons," Walker commanded. "Show them why you don't corner humanity." The battle erupted across the entire solar system. The elite guard's first wave met Earth's quantum disruption field and found their countermeasures weren't enough. Their ships began losing power, but they pushed forward anyway, willing to ram Earth's fleet if their weapons failed. "They're not going to retreat this time," Tom reported. "They're fighting to the death." Around Mars, Captain Brown's Defender fleet engaged the second wave. The planet-killer bombs never got close to Earth. The quantum eye predicted their trajectories perfectly, allowing Earth's ships to intercept each one. "Professor Miller," Walker called, "time for humanity's final surprise." Miller activated a sequence that had never been tested in battle. Hidden quantum transmitters across the solar system powered up. The space between Earth and Mars began to distort. "What is this?" the Imperial commander demanded, watching the phenomenon spread. "We didn't just build weapons," Walker replied calmly. "We learned to manipulate space itself." The quantum field expanded, trapping the Empire's third wave in a bubble of distorted spacetime. Their mighty flagships found themselves moving in slow motion, their weapons firing at targets that had moved long before the shots arrived. The elite guard ships, fighting with suicidal determination, managed to break through to Earth's orbit. But this was exactly what Walker had planned for. "All orbital platforms, execute Pattern Omega," he ordered. Earth's orbital defenses moved in perfect synchronization, guided by the quantum eye. Thousands of weapons fired simultaneously, their beams connecting in a web of energy that trapped and destroyed entire squadrons of Empire ships. The Imperial commander's flagship tried one final desperate attack. It aimed its main gun directly at Earth's surface, preparing to fire even if it meant destroying themselves in the process. "Professor," Walker said quietly, "show them what the moon cannon can really do." The lunar surface erupted as all quantum cannons fired at once. The combined beam hit the Imperial flagship, and for a moment, the massive ship seemed to glow from within. Then it simply disappeared, along with a quarter of the Empire's remaining fleet caught in the same firing line. The battle continued for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Empire's mighty armada, their entire military strength, broke apart under Earth's defense. Their ships were destroyed or captured one by one until only a handful remained. "Surrender," Walker offered the remaining Empire ships. "This war is over." The surviving Empire ships powered down their weapons. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Galactic Empire had been completely and utterly defeated. But as Walker watched the Empire's surrender, he knew that this wasn't just a victory for Earth. This was the beginning of a new age for humanity among the stars. 1 month after the Empire's surrender, Admiral Walker stood at the window of the new Earth Embassy on Mars, watching ships from a dozen alien civilizations dock at the orbital station above. The Empire's defeat had changed everything in the galaxy. Another delegation arriving from the free worlds, Tom Harris reported, now wearing the uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. "That makes 15 independent systems asking for protection this week alone." Walker nodded, remembering how quickly things had changed. The Empire's iron grip on the galaxy had been shattered. Hundreds of worlds that had lived under Imperial rule for centuries were declaring their independence. "What about the Empire's former territories?" Walker asked, turning to Professor Miller, who was preparing for another meeting with alien scientists. "Most of their worlds are forming their own alliances," she replied, checking her datapad. "They're all fascinated by our quantum technology. We've received over 1,000 requests for technical cooperation." The door opened, and Captain Lisa Brown entered, her uniform now bearing the insignia of the newly formed Solar Defense Fleet. "The last Imperial garrison in our solar system has been evacuated," she reported. "Earth's space is now completely our own." Walker led them to the conference room, where representatives from Earth's government waited. The massive table was made from Martian stone, a symbol of humanity's expansion into space. On the walls, screens showed real-time images from across the solar system. "The Solar Defense Pact is ready for signing," Tom announced, bringing up the document on the main display. 20 former Empire worlds want to join our alliance. They're offering resources, technology, and military support in exchange for our protection. "And our knowledge," Professor Miller added. "Our quantum innovations are decades ahead of anything the Empire had. These worlds want to learn from us instead of conquering us." Walker studied the treaty details. Earth had gone from a seemingly primitive world to a major galactic power in just a few weeks. The Solar Defense Pact would create a new alliance, with Earth at its center, based on mutual defense and technological cooperation. "There's more," Captain Brown said, pulling up another report. "The deep space sensors we installed in the Empire's former territory are picking up signals from beyond the known galaxy. There might be other civilizations out there, waiting to be discovered." "Have the aliens asked how we did it?" Walker looked at his team. "How Earth managed to prepare so well in secret?" Tom smiled. "They're still trying to understand. The Empire ruled for so long because they thought they knew everything. They never imagined that a primitive world could innovate beyond their level." Professor Miller brought up images of the new quantum ships being built in Earth's orbital yards. "That's humanity's real strength. We don't just copy technology. We improve it. We see problems as challenges to overcome, not barriers to accept." "The galaxy's changing," Captain Brown observed. "The Empire's defeat showed everyone that the old order can be challenged. Worlds that were afraid to resist are finding their courage." Walker walked to the window again, watching as another alien ship descended toward the Martian surface. This one carried scientists from a world that had been under Imperial control for 2,000 years. They weren't coming to conquer or demand. They were coming to learn. "Send word to Earth Command," he decided. "The Solar Defense Pact goes forward, but with one condition. We don't become the new Empire. Earth will defend its allies, share its knowledge. But every world remains free to choose its own path." As his team moved to implement the orders, Walker reflected on how far humanity had come. From hiding their true capabilities to emerging as a major power, from facing extinction to reshaping the galaxy's political landscape. "One more thing," he added, turning back to his team. "Start the deep space exploration program. If there are more civilizations out there, let's find them. Not to conquer or control, but to learn and grow together." The sun was setting on Mars, casting long shadows across the red plains. In orbit, ships from across the galaxy moved peacefully through space that just months ago had been a battlefield. The Empire was gone, and in its place, something new was growing. Earth had not just survived. It had shown the galaxy a new way forward, not through conquest and domination, but through innovation, preparation, and the unbreakable spirit that made humanity unique among the stars. The story of Earth's defiance was over. The story of humanity's rise among the stars was just beginning.